Adelaide's vision was to teach Indigenous and non-Indigenous students how to live together. She wanted to end the racism, essentially. So in her vision, she wanted to see students come from all over, from any community, whether it's students from our own, whether it's students from across Canada even, bring them together so they can see how we live and see that this way of life is still possible.
It was really important to my mom. One day she told me, she said, we need to start teaching. She knew the importance of not quitting and just keep doing everything they had taught us, and so we could teach our kids, our grandchildren, and they also can teach their own.
This place where we're at right now, looking back since then, we have so many great stories and great memories, and coming here and just working around together, as a family, right? For us, I guess, as my mother-in-law, part of her dream was just to continue on, teaching this, right? Not just to our own children, but to the outside world, I guess, to other Native communities, to the students. That's kind of what she wanted, right? So, I'm so glad. I'm so glad we're doing it.
It's so important that our family comes together to carry Adelaide's vision on. A year after the course happened, Elder Adelaide passed away, and then since then her family has stepped up and took the helm of that course and offered it as a way to not only live up to her name and her legacy, but her vision for the community, how we as a family can come together, but how we as people can come together.
When they come in, they don't know who we are, but by the time they leave, we're so connected to them. So it's like building a family, new families, and that's the way we like to see things around here. It doesn't matter who, to have good relationships with. And I think that's the only way for me. There's so much healing. We need to do that, with whoever comes in. I do believe there's lots of healing by the end of these sessions. It's always like that.
When they come out and we share some of the stories, showing them this is kind of how we do it, right? And yesterday morning, one of the former students that was here last year, and he's back, and he committed to that. When one of my brother-in-law Dave said, hey, we're gonna go out in the morning and you want to come, and he said he jumped on it. So, and it just, to me, that's so important that he just jumped, and didn't argue, said okay, yes, I'm in, and at that moment I really think with Dave and John, his son, and one of my nieces, Rebecca, it just goes to show that's just a learning right there. Step one, you make that commitment to go, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to go look for a moose, elk, whatever it is that they're going to go out, and we're going to go get it. And that's so important because that's providing food, for our elders, our kids, for all of us.
Centering the course around the tanning of a moose hide is vital because that is how we sustain ourselves today. Right? This is a practice that our family has been doing for generations and generations. My grandmother, Miyo-wîcêtowin, who we saw earlier today, She's in her 70s, and to this day she still tans hides, just like her sisters, just like her brother, just like those who came before her, and those who are coming after her as well.
I remember growing up as a little girl, used to go visit my grandma and grandpa. And my grandpa used to say all the time, he says, there'll come a day when the white community, when the white men will come to you and ask you for your help. And in order for them to survive, you'll have to teach them your way of life. That always stuck with me for, as a little girl. He probably said that to me probably at least 3 times, I remember. He never spoke much, but when he spoke, so I knew it was important when he did speak to me. And that's what he would say to me. That was my mom's dad, Daniel. And I always thought about it. He says, one day there'll be no power. And you know how to survive without power. You know, you have to haul water, you have wood, and your food, you know what to eat. He says it's very important you keep that way of life for your survival and the survival of the other communities.
Learning from the land is vital. And if you're going to learn about my people and my community and the way we live, you can't do that from reading a book like most people do. Right? Most people, when they learn about Indigenous communities, people who's never been in Indigenous communities, usually the first thing they see is the textbook in school. You can't understand, you can't truly appreciate a people without being there on the ground with them. And not in just a performative way, seeing how they live in their day-to-day life. So if you're coming to a community to learn from them, you get through it all. The messiness, sometimes the grossness, if you will. Right? These aspects of our day-to-day life, you need that to really understand who we are. And if you want to become part of that community, right, and experience that, and really understand not only what we have to offer, but what you bring to the table as well, and what you can bring to us, and how we can reciprocate that, you have to be here on the land.
Coming from, the cities, the school, you don't know what to expect you're gonna see, right? And when they do see this is, I'm sure some of them, say, wow, this is very, not just real, but this is so beautiful. And to be able to, feel the connection to the land, to everything, and to be able to see the old frames, everything that's set up, it's like, wow, this is no joking thing, right? This is gonna happen for real, right? Even for myself, before I come here, even the old sites that, the AWN, we have old sites that we go to. We go out to the, to around the surrounding area of, miyo-wîcêtowin, nation, right? The territory, we would go out with my dad, other elders, and whoever, and they tell you about the stories of where they used to camp, and you see the old remains of, where they once were, and it's real, right? And this is how I believe the students, when they come here, I believe that they would feel that, the importance in connecting to the land and to everything.
The people here, their laws are written on the land. And so it's not the same to kind of talk about even ice cream berries from a textbook or to see a picture of them. You really have to experience that being on the land to really understand the laws themselves. And so, I spent 3 years learning the law, and I would say I didn't get any part of Indigenous law until I really came to Sousa Creek and learned how to live and learn law from the land itself.
I'm very grateful in being able to continue on putting the course and Wahkohtowin is. It is how we're related to each other, how we relate to every living thing.
I think Wahkohtowin is vital for this course, as well as the concept of miyo-wîcêtowin. The way I like to think of the two concepts relating to each other is Wahkohtowin is like that philosophy, right? The umbrella. And then underneath that, the way we practice that, we live that, is miyo-wîcêtowin, right? Those good relations. And by offering the course this way, having community members from each of our communities come, by having university students come, and even non-students come, just come to be here to take in that energy, but also to learn not only what we're doing, but to offer their own insights as well. That's Wahkohtowin, right? There's beauty in that.
Wahkohtowin would be not only to be related to people, but how we relate to Mother Earth, how we relate to even the moose that got killed, and we're using the meat to nourish our families, but like we're using the hide, how we prepare the hide. That's kind of another way how we're using that word. Like Wahkohtowin would be like how we relate to it, how we use it, but like how we respect the moose, how we're continuing on the moose, like through articles of clothing or how we use it in our art or whatever, you know. So that's probably how I would say it.
I guess for me, like, I'm just thankful, you know, for us to get together again, like, one more time, even though, like, it's been 6 years since we lost the best teacher we ever had, was our mother, like, you know, and to be able to build these relationships with the people that come to us and the healing that's taking place, you know, like, between our people and their people, you know, we need so much healing.
The creek, she loved being out here. She'd be here from morning till night. I feel so connected. I feel like she's so close because this was one of her favorite places.
In 2016, Elder Adelaide MacDonald told her daughter-in-law, Dr. Hadley Friedland, it was time to bring students up to the community to teach. In 2017, Elder Adelaide led the first course, Law 589, the Wahkohtowin Intensive miyo-wîcêtowin Principles and Practice course, is the first land-based learning course in the history of the Faculty of Law. Students first spend 2 full days learning in a classroom. They then travel up to the community of Sousa Creek for 4 days to learn from community teachers through the central activity of brain tanning a moose hide. Elder Adelaide went home on May 18, 2018. Her family has continued to lead and teach the course ever since, carrying on her vision.